Hi y'all. There's billions of people around the world that live in extreme poverty. Roughly about 10% of the world's population does. I can imagine not being able to feed my daughter because I wasn't able to work or because of health issues. According to Georgia's Department of Labor's press release on July 2nd, 2020, Georgia pays out over $7.5 billion in state and federal unemployment. And because of the pandemic, Georgia issued out over $1 billion in unemployment benefits in just 1 week. From March 21st to July 18th this year, 3.2 million unemployment initial claims were processed. That is about 922 million more over the past. That is more than 922 million that were issued over the past 3 years combined. Of 10.5 million residents in Georgia, 4.9 million of those are over 16 are actually employed, but about 11,000 more were employed in 2019. That's good, but this pattern is not the same in less affluent areas of the state. Georgia's two poorest counties, based on the average household income, are Taliaferro County and Hancock County, according to the American Community Survey 5-year estimates. The median household income for Taliaferro is $30,500, and with unemployment being such a large issue, this also results in the poverty rate also being a large issue. In Georgia, the child poverty rate is at 22.6%, and the percent of single-parent families with related children living in poverty is at 35%. Based on the Census Bureau's 3-year estimates, there's an average of 1.5 million people in Georgia living in poverty. Poverty remains a bigger problem in Georgia compared to the poverty rate nationally, because it's at about 14.7% of the state's population is impoverished, and this is compared with 12.3% across the entire United States, and that's based on a 3-year average between 2016 and 2018. And just like a domino effect due to the large issue with poverty, Georgia ultimately suffers with issues regarding to hunger. According to Feeding America's What Hunger Looks Like in Georgia article, there are about 1.3 million struggling with hunger, and out of that 1.3 million, there are about 405,000 of those are children, which is very sad. To put that into perspective, that means about 1 in 8 people in Georgia are struggling with hunger, and about every 1 in 6 children in Georgia are struggling with hunger. And you might ask yourself, why does this keep happening? What is going on? Have you ever heard of the cliff effects? This is considered to be the biggest barrier. This means as a person's wages increase, their benefits like work support, earned income tax credits, Medicaid, and child care decrease so much that their total amount of physical resources available to them ends up lower than before. The cost of health care, child care, food, and housing alone eats up about 2/3 of an income needed to maintain a stable middle-class lifestyle. This causes tight household budgets, which resulting in it makes it nearly impossible for the middle-class families to be able to save. It's hard for Georgians to get ahead, and the simple reality is the American connection between hard work and economic reward is severed. In Georgia, a child born to parents who are at the bottom of the income scale has an 8% chance at best of working their way up to the upper class, and even scarier, only 41% chance of reaching the middle class, and that's really very bad for economic growth. The likelihood of getting ahead is even lower in rural areas. Take a look at Albany, for example. Only 3% of low-income children around Albany will achieve the desired rags to riches American dream. Much of the problem is tied to inequality. The richest 10% of Georgians bring in half of the state's income, with the bottom 90% bringing in the other half. A new Bloomberg analysis based on the U.S. Census Bureau's calculations and the distribution of household income ranks Atlanta to be the most unequal, largest city in the U.S., letting the rich get richer and letting the poor get poorer. Poor neighborhoods are isolated by lack of transportation, racial segregation, social class, school attendance zones, and this is why poverty persists. There's other factors like levels of health, challenging caregiving responsibilities, unpredictable job schedules, and the psychological strain of living in poverty itself. So how can we make this better? The business community plays a key role in advancing anti-hunger efforts to end child hunger. Increase participation in these programs creates an increase in the flow of authorized funds to our communities. What also can help would be more jobs in distressed areas. That could decrease Georgia's poverty rate. Research shows that the most prosperous states are anchored by an educated and healthy workforce from people from all backgrounds to innovate and contribute. An economy built on educated youth, skilled workers, thriving families, and a healthy community can deliver wealth for everyone. So I think that we should update Georgia's K-12 funding formula to meet today's standards, expand aid options, help working parents afford child care, expand health coverage so workers can see a doctor. And these are just a few things that I thought of, that would be able to help. I think that it's gotten better from where it used to be, but it still has a lot more room to grow.